Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You're here with channel host GBHL James.
And GBHL Jamie, and it is the Warriors of Lothlorien and Mirkwood.
Woo, this is our third video of our week. I believe it's third video. Yeah.
Yes.
Riverdale and then Lothlorien and Mirkwood heroes, and today is Lothlorien and Mirkwood troops. We hope you've been enjoying the video so far. Make sure you get your paints out ready for this because it's another discussion video. And yeah, we're going to start off with the basic Wood Elf Warrior.
Yeah, so 7 points, cheap.
Very cheap.
Fight 5, strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, and courage 5.
Okay, so you got your fight 5, your 3 plus.
High courage, 3 plus shoot. Strength 3, defense 3 is the weak points.
Yeah, it's their weak points. And that's where you get the sort of cheapness in these guys, isn't it?
Oh, well, my sort of theory in these is don't lose the fight, your defense doesn't matter too much. Except for shooting. That's why you got Gladriel.
So they do have a ton of options, and this is where they can get really good.
This is where they can sort of be modified to what you really want them to be. So they can take a banner for 25 points. I personally don't take them, although I know some people swear by them.
Yeah, you tend to find because they're relatively cheap, which we'll see when you start putting on compared to like a Rivendell.
Yeah.
Because you've got more of them.
You don't feel you need the banner.
Yeah, you don't feel the need the banner.
To be fair, when I've taken a banner for like sort of to the death of things, it's done really well.
Yeah.
And I've really pushed forwards where the banner is, but on the whole, I wouldn't really take one. An Elven Cloak for 5 points, not needed in any sense. An Elf Bow for 2 points, so a 9-point archer, very good.
Yeah, with 3 plus shoot value and a strength 3 bow.
Yeah, can't go wrong. Throwing daggers for 2 points.
Now this is an interesting one.
I used to take them by the bucket load, but with the move and shoot penalty, they got dropped.
Yeah.
Very quickly, they got dropped.
Yeah.
For me, my standard elf warrior was 10 points. They'd either have an elf bow and a wood elf spear, or a throwing dagger and a wood elf spear.
What's the strength of a throwing dagger?
3.
Strength 3. Yeah. So
with the 4 plus needed once they've moved, they got dropped.
now some people really rate throwing daggers. You see it quite a lot on forums. They say, "Oh no, you can take throwing daggers with these." But I have to say, out there in competitive list play, I've never really seen throwing daggers.
Back before it was warbands, I used to take Legolas with an Elven Cloak because that's all he could have when he was in this list.
Yeah.
So 100 points. 40 Wood Elf Warriors with throwing daggers and elf spears. 20 with elf bow and wood elf spear. There's a 700 point list.
Ugh.
So it's like you get shot and shot and shot as you come towards. You get there, you then get 40. It's like mini hobbits.
Yeah, that's awful.
40 throwing daggers. It was horrible.
It's awful.
Sorry to my parents.
It's too late now.
Many broke before they even hit the line.
Yeah, you would though. You would not want to charge that. You would not want to charge that. But we don't tend to see them these days. But they can also take an Elven Blade for a point. Now this is an interesting one.
These have started to crop up more and more and more with the ability to win roll-offs on a 3, 4, 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yeah, which is of course very handy in itself. Where this also has a strength in your Wood Elf list is because of the lack of strength 4 and above.
They can go two-handed and feint.
Yeah, so having a smattering of those, having a couple, you tend to do that.
I have 3 in every warband.
Yeah, so 3 in each warband just means that if you do need to kill stuff, if you are
one of them can go two-handed.
Yeah, exactly. One of them can go two-handed, which is great. And they can also take something which is well worth a discussion.
Yeah, the Wood Elf Spear for a point.
Wow.
So a model arm with a Wood Elf Spear can support a friendly model as normal. In addition, you can use his spear to parry. Therefore, a model that carries a Wood Elf Spear can use the shielding rule.
This is incredibly useful.
And incredibly infuriating as well.
Yeah, of course it is. Because you can get situations then where this low defense model, who hasn't got a shield, has not got armor or anything.
Parry 6, I win.
Exactly, with the fight value. You got the fight value in there, you get the parry. That means that you can gang up on other parts, because that's what shielding is really good for. It's you use something to tie something up. If you've got the fight value there,
There's so many times I've had like an enemy hero charge 2 of my elves. It's like they'll both parry.
Yeah.
4 dice, I win. You can just back off a little bit.
It's awful. But the Wood Elf Spear is great, really, really good. It means that you've got that utility of being able to support, so you're able to lend dice that way. But you know what? If parts of your line get isolated, cut off,
just stop
ganged up on, parry while you do other things with your very great heroes in other places and gang up with the extra troops that you've got. So Wood Elf Spear is very, very good.
And because it is a spear, it allows you to have it on your bowman.
Yeah.
And then they can shield as well. I mean, I've run lists where every single warrior has a Wood Elf spear. I've got so many of those models at home.
It's that useful. Now you've actually modelled some of your bowmen to have like stakes and stuff in the ground to...
Originally I did, yes, because I didn't want to have to find spears to put it on. But then I found some from Vini Vici store, and stuck them spears on them now.
Yeah, well worth it. A really, really good bit of war gear. Now, one of the things with a Wood Elf warrior profile, and if you've ever read SBG magazine, the fanzine, for the fans, by the fans,
For the fans.
In episode 1, talk about sort of undercosted troops, and Wood Elf warrior crops up.
Came second.
Yeah, behind Moses, was it?
Yes, it was.
Hang on a minute. You might be targeted there.
Yeah.
Because they are cheap.
They are cheap. So 8 points with a Wood Elf spear, and you've got a fight 5 model that can support each other and shield and just generally be frustrating.
They're so cheap. Even if they were a point more, it would probably be more kind of balanced. But it does mean what it does mean is, combined with the fact that you've got relatively cheap mid-level heroes that have a big impact on the game, you can take a lot of these. So for what they do.
Yeah. However, the trade-off with saying that they are cheap and undercosted, which Tom mentions in his article, is they are defense 3.
Yes.
So let's say your dice aren't too hot, you roll 4s.
They die.
They die so quickly. I've lost games due to one bad round of combat.
Well, look at the first games that we played. I was an amateur. I did not really know how to play. Jamie was being very nice. But what was happening was that when I was winning the fights, I was killing you.
Too, yeah.
And when you were winning the fights, you couldn't crack the defense 6 of like the Royal Guard and the Sons of Ale and the heroes and stuff. So that is the layout. And of course, now with your brute power attacks and Hurl in particular,
Hurl has hurt the army so much.
Yeah. So we've seen that a Hurl going through 4s. You've got 50% of them are going to die.
Yeah, it is pretty grim. That being said, though, they are still very competitive.
They are. I would actually say that Wood Elf warriors are possibly one of the most competitive armies to take in the game.
Yeah,
I would definitely say that. So then we actually come up to their more armoured cousins.
Yep, the Galadrim warrior. So they are 8 points base, fight 4, strength 3, defence 4, which is where that point comes in with for armour. 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 5.
Fantastic. So an extra point, 8 points. And you're getting that extra defence, which can make a big difference when you're up against, especially other good armies.
Yeah, definitely. They can take a banner for 25 points, a warhorn for 20 points. Not really needed on elves, because you're boosting your courage up by 1. Just take Erkenbrand if you want a warhorn. Elf bow for 2 points. Again, good.
Yeah, probably a third of your army is going to do that.
Yeah.
With elf armies, it's worth putting in here that you want to get your max bows.
You have to take a third bow, otherwise there's no point. You might as well take Warriors of Initiative.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah,
just
just not take any bows at all and play your army completely differently. But in this army, I would say definitely
you have to take a third bows. An elven blade for a point, a shield for a point, and a regular spear for a point. And they have the woodland creature.
So when we look at this, okay, they're a point more, and they get the defence. Where they kind of lose out, it has to be said, is the inability to take the Wood Elf Spear, which just shows how good the Wood Elf Spear is, really. Definitely. Because actually, you look at the Galadrim Warrior, the Galadrim Warrior is a very good profile and well costed, I would say.
Give them a shield, 9 points, defense 5, elf, good.
Yeah, it's good. Solid.
It's exactly what the High Elf is, 9 points, defense 5, but you have the shield, so you've got the option to shield.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So pretty solid. Now, do we see these guys a lot?
Not a lot, but they are popular still.
Yeah, they are quite popular. People really like the models.
They're very, very nice plastics.
Yeah. And some people really like using, of course, the Haldir's metal set as well, which are really, really nice. So those are the Galadrim. Now, with Galadrim, you don't just get warriors. You can actually make a more rounded Galadrim list by taking a Galadrim Knight.
Yep. So Galadrim Knight is 18 points. Basic.
So quite expensive cavalry.
Quite expensive, yeah. Fight 5, strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 5.
The same profile as a Galadrim warrior.
Yep. They can take a banner for 25 points. On cavalry you won't do it probably, because it's too expensive anyway, in my opinion. Elf bow for a point, elven blade for a point, shield for a point. They have expert rider, woodland creature, and fleet foot, which means they move 12 inches and also can go through woodland terrain for free. Yep. Which is a rule for woodland creature anyway. But back in the old edition, it wasn't. you can only move up to 6 inches in a wood.
Right, okay.
So essentially half movement.
Okay, so they are quite an expensive cavalry, and what you're paying for there is the fact that you've got that fleet foot. It's the extra range on the horse. But it's not an armoured horse or anything, is it? It's not.
It is.
It is an armoured horse.
Yeah. Armour, they come with armour. And
oh yeah, sorry, an armoured horse. Yeah. So an armoured horse, when you cost it, is 6 points for a troop, is it?
Yeah.
It's 6 points for a troop. So
they're paying 12 points, and then you got a point for each rule, 9 points. So they're 1 point over what they should be.
Yeah. And I think that's probably where they suffer a little bit, is they are quite expensive.
Where they suffer is that even when you give them their when you kit them up, they're 22 points, which Son of Ale, Rivendell Knight cost.
Yep.
Rivendell Knight, compared them, has got the fight 5, the defence 6, the lance, and they've got the elf bow already.
Yeah.
And they've got an elven blade.
Yeah, and they're just so much better.
Yeah.
Reasonably, I mean, if you look at the actual profile itself, you know, with the defence level, it's.
People use them, and you tend to see that 1 or 2 in a list to be that sort of knockdown.
Objectives as well.
Objectives, knockdown, run them off, that kind of
stuff.
stuff.
A little bit of killing power.
Yeah.
A little bit of killing power.
But you won't see a force of them like you would do Rivendell Knights.
No, definitely not. They do lose out there.
Yeah.
Now, a very interesting profile now. It's the Wood Elf Sentinel. We spoke about him not that long ago in Speak for the Question.
Yeah, so the Wood Elf Sentinel, 25 points.
So
Expensive. An expensive troop. Especially when you consider just the base profile before we come on to the special rules. So it's fight 5, strength 3, defence 3, 2 attacks, 1 wound, courage 5.
So 2 attack elf. That's
good.
That's pretty good. But 25 points. So why do we get 25 points?
25 points. Well, it comes with an elf bow and an elf cloak. So you can take off 7 points there. So
yep.
18 points. It gets a woodland creature and then has 1 special rule that then breaks off into 3 abilities.
Yep.
So Enchanting Song. A sentinel may sing 1 song each turn. These function exactly like magical powers, except they are cast automatically, cannot be resisted, and they do not require will to use.
Wow.
So the 3 songs are The Hymn of Elbereth, range 12 inches. The song raises the spirits, and the targeted model will pass any courage test that turn.
Okay.
So if you definitely need to charge something, in you go.
That can be really handy.
Yeah. Eldamar Madrigal.
So, say that again.
Eldamar Madrigal.
Ah.
Range 12 inches. The target model must pass a courage test or make a full move under the control of the good player.
So basically a fell light is in them.
Essentially, yes.
Similar or different in any kind of way?
Even if it's already moved, this model cannot be very similar. Yeah. So cannot be used to enter another model's control zone. Cannot perform an action that would cause harm. It's just jumping down a cliff, etc. Affected models may not move further that turn. So very similar to.
Yeah.
But with the extended range of 12 inches.
Yeah.
And then finally, the Lay of Gondolin. This makes the Wood Elf Sentinel cause terror for a turn.
Oh, okay. So which could be handy if you're under a little bit of threat against low courage models.
But even so, I'd rather have Eldamar Madrigal.
Yeah, that's the spell. So
that's the one spell.
What's the one spell?
Eldamar Madrigal.
Sorry, I'm deaf in that ear. Say it again.
You've heard it.
That's the spell that you bring. However, the issue here is 25 points for a single wound, defense 3 model.
Yeah.
So you're paying a lot for Eldamar Madrigal.
Yeah, you are.
How much is a Spectre? 15 points?
15 points, yeah.
15 points. So for 10 points more,
Mm-hmm.
I know that he's getting a lot of other things,
Yeah.
but then you think about how much
Now,
these spells are costing.
He also used to come in the old edition of the rules with an elven blade,
Okay.
which made him just a little bit better.
A little bit better, yeah.
So
it starts stacking up these things.
You tend to see these guys in groups of 1 or 2, typically stood with a hero behind a wall somewhere, so you can't be seen, can't be hurt, and will just sting at people, have a shot with your bow.
Yeah, because it's going to be quite tough for something like that to make its points back.
Yes,
that's the issue, and they can be target priority.
Yeah.
Because they can be very annoying, but they're relatively easy to take down.
Where they really sort of get their use is against things like trolls.
Yep.
Where you'll bring one forward towards the army, isolate it, swamp it, get a hero in there, do it in 1 turn.
It's like your free compel, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your free compel, and compel is such a great spell in the game, so you can see how that would be very, very, very handy. But we don't see them that often. Interesting models. There are 3 different poses.
3 different poses. 1 shooting a bow. 1 you can see here with
the horn.
1 with a different horn. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
The 1 shooting the bow's got a harp.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head whether I think I've got 2 downstairs actually. I'll never ever paint.
I've not got that one. I've had that one. I gave that one away.
Yeah.
So,
Weird poses. Don't see them a lot. They're not they're not common, but you might see one or two.
They're a pain to play against though. Especially if you can't shoot them, they're a pain to play against.
Did I see something the other day about, can you make a model lie down?
It was being discussed whether you can make a model lie down using an Eldon Madrigal Compel. In Compel it says you can't make them lie down specifically. This one says
Can
make a full move under the control of the good player even if it's already moved. I personally don't think you should be able to make them lie down because it feels horrendously unfair on the other player.
Yeah.
However, there's nothing that stipulates you can't do that. Because you've got your limits here. Can't be used to enter the model's control zone and perform an action that will cause harm to the target.
Yeah.
Because it's a full move, not half move, you could use your full move to lie down.
Yeah.
But it does feel like if it was brought up at Star Wars tier, I'd say no.
Yeah.
Even though this would benefit me.
Yeah. Yeah, of course it would. So then we actually go to what I would say is the elite, really, of your Galadriel armies.
Yeah.
Although some people would like to take them with Wood Elves and stuff as well because they are very, very good. Great models. We've got the Guard of the Galadriel Court.
Yeah. So 12 points.
It's expensive.
Yep. But fight 6.
Hold on to that. Keep that in your mind. Fight 6. Very important.
Strength 3, defense 5, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 6.
Oh, good
Courage. They come with heavy armour and a pike. Big pike.
Big pikes. Again, that's pretty key.
Yeah.
For the kind of thing that these guys can do.
They can take a 25-point banner, which I have done in the past with them, but to keep them cheap.
Yeah.
You could take 2 more for that points cost.
Yeah.
They've got Woodland Creature and Karas Galadon fighting style. Essentially, the pike can be used like a Wood Elf spear. You can shield with it.
Which is fantastic, really.
Yeah.
Fantastic, especially if these guys are getting isolated or you are on your own and you need to try and pin down an enemy hero, because let's come back to the start of that stat line. They have fight value
6.
and this is where these guys come into their own.
So they're going to be behind your lines. You've got your fight 5 elf in front who can feint or whatever, but typically if a hero charges in and you've lost priority, they will move to behind the hero. Suddenly you're higher or equal fight with them and you'll be winning the fights more often.
Yeah, and you know, if your elves have got an elven blade as well, because it's a pike that can work in 3, so you've got 3 attacks at fight 6.
Yeah.
You know, 3 attacks at fight 6 is going to be able to pin down many a hero, and that's where I think their main use is. Now, I think some people make the mistake when they see things like Kingsguard or Galadriel Court, where you can go up to fight 6. Obviously, some of the new stuff.
Go on the front line, yeah.
Yeah, get a front line or get max warbands of them. But that's not really, you don't need that. You don't need to pay the extra points for that. They're there, so if you're on a 500-point game, you're probably going to be up against maybe 3 heroes, maybe. You know, in a good army.
In each of my warbands, I have 2 of these.
Yeah.
So I can either gang up on a section of the line or split them up and take on some heroes.
Yeah, and the fact that if they do get isolated, that they can do the Wood Elf Spear thing with that fight 6. They're not going to go down that difficult. And with them having the heavy armour as well, defence 5.
It's a bit of resilience.
Yeah.
In this list.
Yeah, defence 5. It's going to mean that even heroes are probably going to need 5s rather than 4s and stuff, which is
a nice little kill team that I use quite often is 2 of them behind Garnbury Garn and 2 of them behind Rumil.
Yep.
It allows Rumil to feint, so he gets to reroll to 1s on his strength 4 dice, and put him behind Garnbury Garn, who's fight 4 basic. So he gets 4 dice at strength 6, sorry, fight 6, and he can go up in strength with Pierce and Strength because I put an axe on him.
Horrendous.
But Garn could feint if he had his.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So actually, it's a pretty well-rounded list. You've got a good balance of sort of low, cheap cost things with a decent utility.
And then you've got your elites.
And you've got your elites in there.
And then you've got good heroes to lead them as well.
Good heroes. Do we see a lot of Wood Elf lists out there?
Yes. Well, yes. I say yes.
You do. You do tend to see a few.
There's always a few. There's always a few. It's like every list. They're not as common as like Gondor or Moria, but there are always some out there.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, I think they are a very good example of how the game is reasonably well balanced, because even though it is incredible, because you can get any player really could look at that and sort of work out quite quickly that you can put together a very powerful list that would look pretty much the same. Some people might like slight variances, but pretty much the same on the table. You know, a good Wood Elf list. However, that doesn't guarantee that player is going to be at the top table at the end, and especially with the emergence of Hurl I think Hurler's been a big killer for Wood Elves.
Yeah.
Have we seen a Wood Elf army win a tournament since you did it in combination with your Woses? I don't think we have.
I'm trying to think. I don't think so.
I don't think
I
so.
think the last full Wood Elf the list that I think that I won with was the Sterling one.
Sterling, yeah.
It's pure Wood Elves.
So it's a very, very, very competitive list. Great heroes.
Yeah. What was Callum Eden's? Did he have? Yeah, Galadrim. And did he have? Yeah, I think
Did he have dwarves that in the tournament he won?
Maybe. There was one this way. He won 2 on the bounce.
I do.
And I think he had elves in the first one, but I don't know if he had Rivendell elves with him or not. Because I think the twins were there.
Yeah, they're a
But yeah.
competitive list. Very competitive list. You do see them out there. They do tend to do reasonably well. They have a soft underbelly. You've got to play them patiently, haven't you? You'd say that Wood Elves would take a reasonable amount of skill to play. They're not a beginner's army.
There's a bit of finesse to them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They're good strong force. So that means that we're going to go to a completely different type of army next, which will be our next video. Completely different.
Yeah, the opposite. They're willing to take the hits.
The absolute complete polar opposite, which is nice and fun. It's possibly one of my favourite.
Of all the source books,
All the source books.
That's the best one.
Because there's so much variety just in the one book. And so next up we are going to be talking about the Dwarven Heroes, which should be a really, really good video. So we hope you enjoyed that. And make sure you get commenting below and let us know what you thought, and let us know if you're looking forward to the Dwarves and how you've got on with your Wood Elves in the past. Don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe.
Support your hobby, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
And as ever guys, happy strategy battle gaming.